Hey, it's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. Welcome to another edition of Q&A with the Coach. Today we have a question from Dave Sobrasano, who says, "This is off topic. Is it? Is it really? Are there off-topic questions?" No. There are no off-topic questions on this channel, my friends. It's just most of them are about martial arts and cage fighting and that sort of thing because that's what I do for a living, but no off-topic questions here. If you have questions, please leave them in the comments down below or email me at ramseydewey@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to answer your questions in a video or otherwise. Anyway, David says, this is off-topic, but if you learn how to dance, can it help you to fight, like improving your footwork? I suppose I'm in a unique position to answer this question because I was a professional dancer and a professional fighter. And you might think, hey, there must be crossover in that. And in any athletic endeavor, there is crossover. Anything that makes you a better athlete makes you a better fighter. Dancing, a serious physical discipline, serious physical culture like dancing, helps make you a better athlete. Ergo, it helps make you a better fighter. But as far as direct translation, for example, does it make your footwork better? No. Simply put, no. Not directly anyway. Not directly anyway. And that might shock you to learn that the footwork in, say, the waltz or the foxtrot or the tango or the cha-cha is completely different than the footwork for, say, a check hook, or a head-tail pivot, or a walking step pivot, or something like that. Totally, radically different. Whoa! Mind blown. Or that the pas de chat from ballet is not the same move as a 360 tornado kick from taekwondo. Not the same thing at all. Okay, but there is crossover. To me, the biggest crossover, the biggest asset that I brought from professional dance to professional mixed martial arts was this: the ability to become a muscle mimic. A muscle mimic, the ability to watch people perform complex movements, complex series of choreography, and to imitate it within a relatively short period of time. And that's not a skill set that came naturally. It's one I had to learn and earn the hard way. So I had to audition to get into the program, to get into the dance program at my university. And it was some very steep competition against people who were doing this since they were small children. And I started dancing at age 22. That's when I started training in dance. Got a very late start, like modern dance pioneer Martha Graham, one of my heroes, man. Martha Graham, love her to death. Whew. Some very inspirational, very wise things that woman taught about movement and kinesthesiology and the human mind, body, soul connection. Just very, very wise. And I think that late start in life helped so much in many ways. A lot of people see that as a bad thing, but I don't. And I'm glad I got that late start as well, because of the things I was focusing on beforehand. It's not like I was stuck in a closet doing nothing for 22 years. I had some stuff and things going on, man. Anyway. So being a muscle mimic, to get into the program, I had to pass these auditions, a series of auditions, and in the audition, a series of complex choreography is shown, and the dancers have to replicate it and improve upon it within a few minutes' time. And they see it once, maybe twice, and I failed a number of auditions, failed a lot of them. It's tough. I mean, try that if you are not a trained dancer. Okay. Look up a dance video. Look up one on YouTube. Look up some choreography. Maybe from a music video or a movie, or just look up dance choreography, and then try to do it exactly the way you see it, the same moves, and try to improve upon it. And it may shock you how incredibly difficult that is. You might think, oh, I got this. Film yourself. Show it to somebody. Listen to the resulting laughter from your friends and the mockery. And it will humble you in some very important ways. And hopefully make you better. So that skill translated so well into mixed martial arts, especially as a coach. Because I have to be able to see movements, interpret movements, and then extrapolate those movements in real time. But as far as footwork, I'm kind of bobbing my head right now because, I mean, if you can do a petit allegro in classical ballet, like the Petit Allegro from Swan Lake, something like that, oh man. If you can do footwork that intricate, that fast, that deliberate, yeah, none of the footwork in boxing is going to be difficult for you. But if you are kinesthetically retarded, as I certainly was when I started out this whole endeavor, delving into physical culture like dance and martial arts, then the footwork of boxing may seem complex and mind-boggling, and you might trip over your own feet. So the footwork in fighting is much, much, much more simple, even the most complex of it, than anything that will ever happen on the stage of a classical ballet performance. That being said, the consequences for messing up that footwork are much, much more dire in boxing, because in boxing, the dancers knock each other out. You ever hear that old Jack Handey quote? Whatever happened to Deep Thoughts by Jack Handey? Does that guy still exist? Boxers and ballerinas are basically the same thing, but in a boxing match, the dancers hit each other. Deep Thoughts by Jack Handey. Oh, man. So, yeah, man. So dance if you want to. Is that a song? I've heard that somewhere before. You can dance if you want to. But you don't have to. It won't make you worse. It absolutely won't make you worse. But I'm not going to say, I'm certainly not going to guarantee that it will make you better. I mean, you could say the same thing about a lot of other things. Skipping rope, for example. A lot of fighters feel that skipping rope is something that they can't do without. They have to do it. A lot of coaches will insist you must skip rope for an inordinate amount of time, every single day, or you will not be a good fighter. And a lot of people swear by skipping rope. And then there are a few coaches out there, like myself, who say, hey, guess what? You don't need to do a whole bunch of rope skipping to be a good fighter. It won't make you worse, but it's not a guarantee to make you better. Now, if you are able to skip rope for 30 minutes, stay up on the balls of your feet and all that, engage those muscles, those are a lot of the same muscles that will be constantly engaged in a 30-minute long boxing match. And so you got that going for you. If you are able to do these intricate patterns on a jump rope, and there's some fantastic boxers out there who are amazing at skipping rope. Just enviable skills on skipping rope. If they're able to do that, then yeah, the footwork in boxing is simple by comparison. So it definitely didn't make them worse, by any stretch of the imagination. So, you can dance if you want to, but do you have to? Nope. But a life without art. Real art. Real fine art. What kind of life is that, man? When was the last time you went to a live theater performance of any kind? Think about that. When was the last time you went to a live theater performance of any kind? It's kind of a dying trend in modern society. In fact, right now, throughout the world, I don't think there are many theater performances, live theater performances happening at all because of the onset of the plague and all that. People in close quarters breathing on each other, and not very desirable in this current climate. But before that, and hopefully after this, right? What are we going to do about that? How many of you have actually been to a live theater performance where you watched a ballet performance or a modern dance performance? Or maybe you went to a dance sport competition and watched professional ballroom dancers out there doing their thing. Or you saw a play or an opera or something like that. How many of you have done that? And why does that matter? How many of you have been to a live fight? There are a lot of fight fans out there who watch every UFC, who watch every boxing match, who know the names of every professional fighter, but for some reason have never actually been to a live event. Which is kind of sad. I mean, it's a different thing. You don't have to go to a live event to appreciate it, but it's a whole different thing, man. It's a whole different thing. How many of you have been to Lumpini Boxing Stadium in Thailand, all you Muay Thai lovers? It's one thing to watch a video of a fight, of a really good fight. See some of these greats from Thailand who are just fantastic fighters, but it's a whole different thing where you can sit by the ring and you can smell the ointment on those fighters' skin, and it's a whole different sensation where you can hear the crack from the strikes that you don't get watching it on a TV or the internet, man. And that's one thing, one of those crossovers that fighters and dancers have that you might not think about. I'm making a point here. This is not an aside, guys. This is not a pointless segue. That's not the right word. It is a segue, but it's not pointless. The crossover there is performing in front of other people, having people there, having a group of people create this emotion, create this feeling, which is impossible to recreate in any other situation. And dancers experience that up on stage, performing in front of the crowd, and fighters experience that up in the cage, up in the ring, in front of the crowd, and the crowd experiences that vicariously by being there in close proximity, hearing the breathing of the dancers, hearing the breathing of the fighters, seeing the sweat coming off of them, seeing the raw physicality of that physical culture. And that transcends from fine art to martial art. Because that's one of those things that's very, very difficult to train for in a gym. Performance anxiety. So much more than footwork, which dancing will help you with in an abstract sense, in much the same way that skipping rope can help you in an abstract sense. The level of adaptation to performance anxiety is something you may not even consider, where dance crosses over with cage fighting. Thanks for watching. Get out there and train.